What's up, guys? Welcome to Nimble Minds Talks of Self and Spirituality, where we talk about different philosophical perspectives as well as spiritual practices. And in today's video, it's going to be some philosophy, okay? And it's coming from the book Stoicism and the Art of Happiness. Now, this book is one of the first books actually that I started reading when it came to me really getting into philosophies and actually trying to apply it and applying it to different aspects of my life. And even as I progressed and made progress in terms of spirituality and things like that, right? And just overall well-being, right? This book, a lot of things in it still hold true, and I do believe have some value, okay? So one of the concepts I want to talk about that it discusses in this book is the virtue and vices, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. It says the concepts of virtue and vice are absolutely central to the whole edifice of Stoic philosophy, okay? It is closer to what we mean by a person's strengths, their positive characteristics, good qualities, and what makes them excel, okay? The Stoics believe that nature provided humans with an inbuilt goal, the good life or happiness, which we attain by progressing towards virtue. Okay, so what can that mean? That can mean a lot of things, but main thing I want to focus on is you have to focus on your strength and your positive characteristics, okay? Your good qualities. And when you do those things, it will help you progress towards virtue, which is, how do you want to say virtue, okay? High moral standards for yourself and even just truth, okay? The truth leads you towards the truth, okay? Being honest with yourself. And how are you going to do that? By focusing on your positive characteristics. So, for example, and this can go into being mindful and, positive self-image, right? Once again, there will be times and there can be times where you may be down on yourself. You may say things about yourself and have these thoughts about yourself that aren't entirely true, okay? And they are temporary. But it's good to be able to focus on the more positive aspects of yourself, the good qualities of your character, okay? The positive characteristics and your actual strengths, okay? You may be in a situation where maybe you didn't get, a certain score or something, right? Or maybe you didn't get this certain relationship that you wanted or this certain opportunity that you wanted. And you start to beat yourself up over it, okay? That's not something you should do. Okay, that's not something you should do. Although it's normal, it is natural. You should focus on, okay, well, I didn't get this opportunity. Okay, well, I didn't get this relationship. Okay, well, I didn't get into this position that, would have been more positive and beneficial for me. But you can still focus on the benefits. Hey, what did you learn from that? Okay, you may not have exactly got the main thing you were trying to get, but there has, throughout the course of you striving for whatever it was, there was something that you learned. There was something that you can take from it and still apply it to your current self and be even better than you were before, okay? So that's the virtue. Something I just wanted to touch on for the virtue and vices part when it comes to the Stoic philosophy. And let's go. There's another page here I wanted to cover. It's virtue and vices, and there was, here we go. So Stoic indifference to indifferent things, okay? If something is neither good nor bad, in the Stoic sense, it is classified as indifferent, okay? This means that it can neither help nor harm you. So first, before I go into that, just from conversations I have had with people and comments I have heard, when it comes to Stoicism, right, and just different ways you can apply it to your life, okay? It's not something where, you're just like this impervious rock human being. At least in my experience, that's definitely not something that it should be, or at least how I have applied it. It's not that at all. Although it can come off like that, and initially people who will hear it and maybe haven't read anything about it or any anything like that. They'll believe that. It is not that at all, okay? But this goes into the you can't control the actions, but you can't control your reaction to things, okay? And that's where I honestly believe this indifference can be at its most powerful, or at least not even just powerful, but it can be more beneficial for you. Is that, once again, in life, there are some things that you cannot control, whether good or bad, whether they harm you or whether they do cause some type of harm to you, right? Whether that's physical, mental, maybe, your time or something, whatever it is, there's going to be some things that you cannot control, okay? And it is going to be good, and it will help you to be able to take an indifferent approach, okay? That does not mean this thing doesn't cause some, emotional turmoil, okay? Some mental turmoil, okay? Some environmental turmoil. That's not what that means. But in taking an indifferent approach to things, it gives you time to actually analyze what's going on. It gives you time to actually stop for a second and have a thought, okay, like metacognition, which is the thinking about thinking, okay? It allows you to think about your thoughts and your actions before you react, okay? Because a lot of times in situations, right, people react often, right? And they're just very reactive, and that's not the best state to be in. It's really good to be in a state where you're able to control that reaction, right? Because, hey, it also talks about this in this book, okay? When it comes to handling difficult things, and this is just a good thing in general, but when it comes to handling difficult things that may be difficult for some people, it's good to create these situations in your head. It's good to really play through these situations 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, 1,000,000 times until it's almost like you're living that situation, even though you're not. It's good to just replay that situation, okay, in your head over and over again, as if, even if it never happens, right? Because that's the thing. You never want any situation to happen, right, that could be detrimental, right? But in life, things are going to happen. So, for example, and this is just some I'm thinking off the top of my head, right? Let's say you're thinking of a situation where it's like, I don't know, you're at a time where you can't trust anyone around you. You think everyone's out to get you, right? That's not the, I'm just making it up. But let's say that you replay that situation in your head so many times that you understand the type of reaction, even though it may not be to the T, right? You understand the type of reaction that you would need to have in that situation in order for you to gain certain information, right? And that sounds like, wait, what is he talking about? But I'm telling you, if you can apply that to your thought process and whatever it is, right? And it may not need to be that extreme. It could be like, you know what? I got to make a certain meal or something, right? And I got to cook for like the family if you have a family. So let me just run through my head like the steps of prepping this meal a couple of times. So actually when I start doing it, I'm a little more comfortable. Like that's a great example right there. So you're not like first starting to prep the meal and then you never thought about it. So now you're kind of like, I don't really, like, just run it through your head a couple of times. And it's still going to be like your first time doing it, right? But at least you'll have thought about it, gave it some thought. So it's not like, oh my goodness, So that's one of the things though, but having an indifferent approach can really help you. And why is that? Because once again, there's going to be things you can't control in life. And only thing you can control is yourself and your reactions. You can't control other people, and you shouldn't want to control other people. But understand, there are going to be some situations that you get into where you may disagree. There are going to be some situations too where you may not like somebody. There's going to be some situations where you get into where there's tolerance that's going on, but that's okay because you can control your actions. You can control your reactions to situations. You may, once again, can't control other people. Okay? Other people are going to have their ideas. Other people are going to have their way of thinking about you, but you can't control that, okay? Other people are going to have their ways about doing things that you may not agree with, and that's okay because everyone is different in their own ways. And that's what makes us human. That's what makes us just people at the end of the day. Okay? So it is good to have that indifferent approach when it comes to things. Does that mean you're like this rock? You know what I'm saying? No, that's not what that means, even though most people will take it as that. And I've had this conversation with people before where I'll be like, oh, I'm reading this book. Like when I was really reading this book for the first time heavily, I literally told people something that, and they're like, bro, like, oh, you're reading that Stoicism? Like, oh, like the nothing affects you. And I'm like, okay, they don't get it, but that's perfectly fine. Because that's the reaction most people will have. But it's not just about that. It's like, it's not like nothing affects you. Things affect everybody because we're people at the end of the day, and it's just normal. But being able to be aware of these situations that will arise, can arise, okay, and then going through these thought processes in your head and understanding, hey, I can't have control over certain things, but at the end of the day, I understand that having a patient reaction, I understand that having a reaction that's not so jumpy, having a reaction that's more so thinking, having a reaction that's more analytical in a sense, will help me better understand the outcome of the situation. Even if you can't control the situation, having that understanding will help you get through that situation a lot smoother than if you just reacted to everything that came to you like it was the first time it was going to happen, okay? So that's one thing it does talk about with this philosophy that is really good. So if there's difficult situations that you may have trouble with dealing with, okay, because it's going to be difficult situations for everybody. I don't know your situation, whoever's watching, whoever's listening. I don't know your situation personally. Only you do. But you know the difficult things that may arise in your life, that have arise in your life, that can arise in your life. I would urge you to every now and then just give them some thought. It may be hard, okay? A tear might drop. I'm just saying, it is what it is. But give yourself that benefit. Give yourself that respect to be like, you know what? This is a territory we're going into. We're going to have to think about some of these difficult decisions. We're going to have to think about some of these difficult things. And I guarantee you it will help you, okay? Does that mean you're going to be some stone wall, some brick wall where nothing affects you? Of course not. But you can better adapt. You can better adjust to certain situations when they arise, when those tough conversations arise, because at the end of the day, it's inevitable that you're going to have some tough conversations in your life, okay? Maybe that meal that you prepared wasn't the best, and now you got to talk to your family. Like, I'm sorry, family, I really thought I whipped it up in the kitchen, but I didn't. Like, things like that. So it's just good to have that mindset. It's good to be aware and think about the difficult things, at least every now and then, right? So when you do have those conversations, it can go a little smoother, okay? I'm not saying it's gonna be the best, but it'll definitely help you, okay? And now that I've covered the main topics I wanted to cover so far in this book, I may use this book more in the future for more videos, but that's it for now. I'm just gonna start talking a little bit about how these concepts can transcend just this philosophy, right, and actually help you in your life. And it has helped me, spiritually, right, and just overall well-being. So I know another thing it does talk about is, once again, focusing on your reaction to things, okay? That is very important, especially now. I love to talk about now, society, especially things that I can see on YouTube, because once again, that's what I'm on a lot. I'm on YouTube very often. That's like my only form, really, of any type of social media, if you want to call that. It's more of like a media platform, but you can socialize if you comment, right, I guess. But I don't comment. I just watch videos. So once again, controlling your reaction to things. There's a lot of posts I will see about like drama, right? I'm not a drama person, okay? Like, you come to me with drama, I'll just look at you like, what do you want? I'm not like a person that's into drama, but from the drama things I see on YouTube, there's a lot of people who, it seems, they're reactionary to a lot of drama, okay? And a lot of times there are things that are placed there and people do things on purpose to try to get a reaction from you. And that's where being aware that people are like this and people will do this is very important, because at the end of the day, if you incorporate what the technique it talks about, which is being able to think about people doing this, and because people are just, at the end of the day, we're human, right? People are gonna just be annoying sometimes. If you just incorporate that into your mindset, like, okay, let me think about some situations where I may be in this situation and this person probably is gonna do something annoying, okay, and then you're ready for it. So it gets to a point where you're almost trained yourself so much for the situation where it's almost like they don't exist. Like, I'm so serious, it works, but you just have to really give it time, really give it thought, really put it into practice, and then you can see some fruits of its labor. You know what I'm saying? You can definitely see some of its benefits. But once again, these are things that it just takes time, and it takes not only time, but it takes you putting in the practice, putting in the work over that time for you to be able to incorporate these mindset different techniques into your mindset, okay? But yeah, that's one of the main things, right? Controlling your reaction to things and understanding that you can't control everything. So some situations you may be in, all right, the way the dynamic of that situation may work is you're on the end where you can't control certain things people are gonna say. You can't control certain things people gonna do, okay? But what you can control is your reaction, okay, at all times. And that's when it gets tricky because usually it's like there's some times where I just gotta say something. There's sometimes, and I'm not gonna lie, I understand that, right? But for the most part, it will get to a point where, hey, you understand that it's not worth it, okay? And then you start to develop in tangent with, you know what I'm saying, in tandem with these techniques, you start to add on some things, right? Some little upgrades, I'll call it, to them. So for example, you understand you can't control everything, right? But then, oh wait, you hold on before I say that. You understand you can't control everything, so you work on your reaction to the things, okay? But then on top of you working on your reaction to the situation, then you also start to think that, okay, let me ask questions as well as to why is this reaction even necessary? Okay, so for example, let's just say you're you're on YouTube, right? You're scrolling on YouTube or something, and you see a video and like the thumbnail or something, and the title is something that's like outlandish, and you're like, I just have to comment on this video right now because this person is just talking crazy or whatever it is, right? Now, you already have incorporated you being able to think about your reaction to something. So you're already thinking about, okay, well, I can control my reaction, so should I react to this? Then the other part is the questioning on top of that. Okay, what's the title of this video? Why would this person name the title of this video this? What is the objective of this video? Why does this person put this video, upload this video at this time with the social climate that it is now? Okay, and then it gives you a motive, it gives you a purpose, it gives you a lot, and then you understand, okay, well, this person probably did this on purpose, and they probably want people to engage in the video, so it's probably not worth me even wasting my energy on it because this the purpose of the video. So you scroll past it, or you just watch it, and then you have that understanding while you're watching it, so you're not as frustrated, you're not as upset about those things that are happening because now you understand that's what's going on. Or let's say you're in a debate, right? Let's say you're in a debate with someone, okay? Now, before the debate even starts, and even during the debate, you ask yourself, hey, okay, what's the topic of this conversation? Okay, are these topics something that people, you know what I'm saying, mostly get mad over or mostly get a temper over? Okay, however you answer that question. Okay, how am I going to react to these questions? Okay, and then understand that there's going to be some times where you're in a situation where you have some experience with it, but then there's still some, you know, unaccounted variables that could trigger you, right? There are still some unaccounted variables that could end up making you just say something that was just like out there or something. So you have to be aware at all times that there are going to be those unaccounted variables anyway, and those are, you can't control those ever. Like there's going to be those unaccounted variables where it just doesn't matter because you can't control it, but being aware of it is important though. If you're aware of that, that will help you so much. That will help you so much because then it'll pop up and you'll be like, oh, unaccounted variable, there it is. And it's just like, you know what I'm saying, it adds a layer that does help you. So once again, focusing on the things you can control, okay, being indifferent about some things definitely helps. Okay, understanding that, hey, I can't control everything, so it's not worth losing sleep over this. It's not worth getting frustrated over this. It's not worth giving attention to this. It's not worth even reacting or having a conversation about this because what are we doing? Things like that. Those are very important. Okay, those are very important because ultimately, what does this do? What is the purpose of this? Right? It allows you to have more of your energy. It allows you to enjoy more of your time. Okay, because that's one of the biggest currencies I talk about on this channel. Half the videos I have up on this channel have this hourglass, not just because I like the way it looks, because it does look nice, I'm not gonna lie, but because one of the most important things you'll have wherever you decide to, go, right? Wherever you decide to go with your time. One of the most important things you'll ever have is your time. So are you going to spend your time always worried about gossip? Are you going to spend your time always worried about what other people's opinions are? Are you always going to spend your time worrying about what somebody else has to say? Are you always going to spend your time worried about what someone else is doing? Like, no. You need to spend your time in your life. You need to spend your time doing the things you actually enjoy. You need to spend the time that doing things that are going to bring you joy, okay? Because at the end of the day, we're all going to leave one day. We're all going to pass away, die one day, whatever you want to say. Everybody has a day. And either you spent that time always worried about somebody else and watching somebody else, or you spent that time doing things you actually enjoyed. You spent that time maybe talking to the person that you want to talk to, or playing a game you wanted to play, or going after that career you wanted to go to, or actually trying an instrument you wanted to try, or getting a workout routine together, or you know what I'm saying, or having a tough conversation you were afraid to have, and things like that. Okay, so just think about that. That could be one of the hard things that you think about as well. Like, dang, one day it's gonna be it. One day I'm gonna be, on my last leg. I'm gonna be getting up out of here, and either I'm about to, be, be looking back and being like, okay, I actually did things I wanted to do. I actually enjoyed myself. Or you're gonna be somebody that was like, dang, I was caught up in all this gossip all the time. Dang, I was lying this whole time. I didn't even need to do that. It wasn't even worth it. Or, you're gonna be a person that was like, dang, bro, I could have been out here working out too, but I was just hating. Or dang, I spent all this time hating, and I spent all this time doing this. So it's all about where you want to be, honestly, because that decision is up to you. But once again, one of the most important things you're going to have is your time, okay? So spend that time doing things that are, things you want to do. Like, for example, I'm just talking to the phone right now, going to upload it to YouTube. That I enjoy doing this because it makes me think about different things, and I get to talk about things I read and different ideas I have, and I get to just yap and talk, and it's just like, hey, why not? So I enjoy this. So things like that, though, okay? Spend your time doing the things that you enjoy, and the things you want to do, things that bring you joy, okay? Because once again, that's one of the biggest, most expensive currencies you can ever have, okay? Yes, you have to have a job, pay for your necessities, right? Make sure you have a roof over your head, food to eat, and things like that. That's important. That's always going to be important, yes. But after you get the basic stuff out the way, time is undefeated. Time will tell you the truth. Time won't lie to you. Time will come get you. Time will do everything it needs to do. Time is undefeated. Time is the best boxer I have ever seen. Time is the greatest fighter I have ever seen. Time got the best weave I have ever seen. Time got the best right hook I've ever seen. Time got the best left hook I've ever seen. Time got the best roundhouse I've ever seen. At the end of the day, time wins. Okay, you can't beat time. So what are you going to do with your time? But anyway, that's the video. Hope you guys took something from this video that you guys can somehow apply to an aspect of your life that, can improve it in a positive way. But besides that, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.